Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. My name is Laura Schifrin, and I'm Chairman of the Townsend Housing Authority, and welcome to the first meeting of 2019. Roll call, please.
Natalie Call.
Chad Sexton Duranian.
Bess Coleman.
Okay, and I've introduced myself. I'd like to announce that the meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else in the audience recording the meeting? Seeing none. Okay, thank you. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you, as always, to the veterans. I owe you a debt of gratitude. Additions, deletions to the agenda unforeseen prior to 48 hours of this meeting. I thought I was going to have to add the form, but I don't have to because we have 1.14, which will address the legal request form. Okay. Next on our agenda, 1.6, approval of the minutes of October 19th, October 24th, and November 9th, as posted on the town website. Now, all of the board members were emailed the draft of the minutes. We had 2 corrections that came forward, and those corrections were made. So is there a reason, does anybody think there's a reason to take one at a time, or are we good with what you've received?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of October 19th, October 24th, and November 9th as posted on the town website.
Second.
I make a motion to approve October 19th, 24th, 19th, 24th, and November 9th as ready.
Posted on the website.
Second.
Posted on the website.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next sign. Thank you very much. Glad to have those minutes taken care of. Okay, Chairman's report. Okay, so my first thing is... First of all, as I've stated before, Happy New Year, and we wish good health to everyone in the coming year. This evening, I received a text message at 5:30, and it was from our other board member, Carol Toole. I'm stuck at work, can't leave for the meeting. This is why I wanted to step down. She had gotten a promotion at work, and she's now a manager, and she gets called in for more hours than what she anticipated. And she has a lot more responsibility now. We'll call you tomorrow. And then so I sent her a message that I had gotten it, and basically stated that until you resign with town clerk, we can't fill the position. And so she wrote back that she will do it tomorrow. So it's out there now, and I can tell the public that once she does do it formally at the town clerk's office, it will be posted, and there will be a vacancy on the board. So right now, we're at January 9th. If she does do that tomorrow and we can post for the position, I think it's 10 or 14 days, I'm not sure. I'll clarify that with the powers that be. And we hope that somebody will be interested enough to come forward. We welcome more participation on the board. After that, if someone is interested, you'll fill out the volunteer form. The board will address it at our next meeting, and we can forward that for appointment to the Board of Selectmen. I bet that this appointment would only be until the next formal election, even though I think her term is...
This was just elected in, so...
Yeah, so 23. So the appointment is only good until the next election, but the next election seat will be, we'll actually end up with 2 on the next election. Natalie, yours is 219. And so to fill the vacancy of Carol Toole, which will be until 2013. Well, excuse me, right, I said 23. It'll be until when she's elected, whoever's elected, it will be until 2023 for the position that's being vacated right now. Natalie's, I think, will come in for 5 years, once that, because each one, it's scattered, but each one is 5 years. So, so that's the explanation on that, and that's the latest and greatest. Obviously, just came up, so, but I can report that under my report as I received it just before the meeting. Other than that, we have a full agenda, so I'm going to just go to you, Chaz.
Okay.
If anything from the state, but if you don't have like a large report, why don't I just have you go into those things that we want to verify? The next...
right after that?
Yeah,
I can do that.
1.9, 10,
Okay.
11, and then I can start again with 12.
And then we can go, okay. Okay, as far as state representative report, I met with the zoning board on December 20th. This was a rescheduled appointment that we had talked about before. The meeting originally was set for October 17th. It was changed to December 20th. And this is regarding interpretations of the zoning board and the Townsend Housing Authority regarding the town bylaws and state regulations as it pertains to accessory apartments in Townsend. It was a good meeting. It was agreed that the collaboration with zoning, planning, and the housing authority was imperative, and that moving forward, all 3 boards should be collaborating to be able to make sure that the bylaw, especially through the planning, since planning is working on it, that they have feedback from all of these. So it was a very good meeting. We also looked at some other areas that I feel that we all need to look into, and that was enforcement and administration. So it's enforcement of the new bylaws, how's that going to happen, and administration meaning but administrative assistance, that kind of stuff. We're going to need some, because it's going to generate some more paperwork than what we have now, so we need to address that particular piece.
So let me interject with 1 minute because I'll piggyback on what you just said.
Yep.
I was at the MRPC meeting last week. That's Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, and they help with technical assistance and like the drafting of bylaws and whatnot, and we as a town can apply for something each year. And so when they happened to bring up that they had just recently done a plan for permitting and following up for Shirley. So that was sent, I remember that afterwards because our planning administrator was looking for something. So I ended up emailing John Hume at MRPC, and he was kind enough to send the one from Shirley. So I did forward that to Beth Faxon because there's no sense in reinventing a wheel. So if they've gone through the process already, why waste another grant if all you have to do is tweak it, for your town. So she knows about it, and that's going to be coming forward.
Yep, and I did actually saw that as well.
Okay.
It was forwarded to me, and I did look at it. I also have talked to some contacts from CHCD regarding the 15-year tenure for the in regards to the making a unit affordable, and there's a 15-year. I have I'm setting 2 more meetings after that with the CHCD to discuss that. It is a state law, so we can't really do anything with that, but we are looking at ways that the state or the commission can help us kind of make that a little more attractive to accessory apartment owners.
Okay, so
for
the
them.
interesting part about that is that the last issue that we addressed in town, where somebody wanted to do that, and they went before the zoning board, and the zoning board was in agreement to give the permit for it as long as she obeyed, whatever, went by the Townsend Housing Authority. So...
Well, this is what we're discussing. This is why
Yeah.
we need to tighten that up, because
Right.
there was special circumstances in regards to that as well.
Right.
So what we all agreed upon is that we'll take a member from each one, from planning, from zoning, and from the housing authority, and they can meet together to be able to look at what would be best for all three, and then bring it forward to each respective boards, and then come up with something that the planning can put together that's going to be feasible. I did look at the Shirley bylaws, and those looked good. There's two other communities that I looked at within the state that fit within our footprint as well. So those are the three that I know off the top of my head that I kind of throw out to everybody to take a look at and see what we can do to kind of organize it for us.
And we're going to talk more about accessory.
Yeah, we'll
at
talk
3.1.
more about that when we get there, but the meeting that you had asked me to do, I did, and we're moving forward with that. You also asked me to meet with the Representative Harrington in regards to meeting with the setting up meetings with the state. She is still working on that with me. Because of the holiday season, we weren't able to really nail down anything, but once that happens, I'll let the whole board know. We also set a date and met with Town Council in December in regards to the warrant article, which we'll discuss later. I also attended the meeting of the Board of Selectmen that you had asked me to do, to field any questions in regards to where we were at. And that's basically my report.
Okay.
The next item would be to go over and reapprove the mission statement. We all agreed that the best way for us to all be on the same page is to go over. These are already posted on the website, on the webpage, and these are our mission statement, the Housing Authority description, and the role of the Housing Authority. I emailed these out to everybody to take a look at. The purpose of this is so that that we are reapproving these, that this is our focus, and this is to also get on the video that this is our mission. We have no other mission than what is here, and we wanted to get that straight. And that was something that I was asked to do by some of my colleagues in the state. They said we need to get our mission out there to let what our focus is here, so that anything can't be misinterpreted on what our motions are. So as far as the mission statement is concerned, to promote, maintain, and provide housing opportunities for income groups who could not otherwise afford to live here is our current mission statement. And what I'm looking for is a motion that, if you agree that that's what we want to continue with, a motion statement, then please make the motion and we'll vote on it.
I do. I make a motion that we maintain that statement, yes.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? I would just say that we've had several mission statements in the past, going back 15 or 20 years. And this one was the one before this one had verbiage in reference to conservation, and conservation isn't anything that so I can see you guys. Conservation and any rules or whatever having to do with it has nothing to do with this board. Nobody here has the qualifications to do that, so we took it out of our mission statement because it wasn't anything that we could do. So this one has been in effect at least 10 years, if not more. And so that has been our goal. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Okay, the motion carries that our mission statement will be as read.
The next would be Housing Authority description. which reads, "The Townsend Housing Authority, or THA, studies the housing needs of the town and provides information to the public, which includes low-income families and members of the elderly population regarding affordable housing. The THA facilitates the town of Townsend's goals to reach an equitable number of affordable housing units by researching the best use of the town's developable resources and seeking state and federal funding where possible. The Townsend Housing Authority assists with local initiative projects with such agencies as Habitat for Humanity that bring affordable rentals and ownership units to Townsend. The THA initiates development of housing which meets the needs of the community and fits appropriately with Townsend's rural character. The Townsend Housing Authority operates under the Town Charter, Section 3 through 16, and 760 of CMR 4.00, General Administration of Local Housing Authorities." Again, I ask for a motion for that.
I make a motion.
I second.
Any discussion on the motion? I would just say that this is what we operate under and have all along. Okay? No more, if there's no more discussion, I'll do the vote now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Okay. The last portion is the role of the Townsend Housing Authority, and I'm going to yield to the chair as to how you want me to present this. Do you want me to read this whole thing, or do you... this has been on our webpage for when the page was, whenever the year that the page went up, which is 2012, 13, I forgot.
I'm okay with referring to the website for all the roles, but if you would just like to go over, like, understanding the affordable housing unit needs of the community, and then they're listed, and then, like, your different
That's the categories.
headings.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then at least those here will hear part of it, and so will the audience, and they can refer to the website.
Okay. So the role of the Townsend Housing Authority is understanding the affordable housing needs of the community, providing information and input in the 40B comprehensive permit affordable housing development process, managing state and federal affordable housing programs locally, monitoring and assisting with lotteries, marketing and outreach of affordable housing units, assisting with the affordable housing dividend component of 40B projects, and monitoring the affordable housing development locally to preserve affordable units. Those are the main roles, and each of those are broken down, as we just described, into the perspective, or the different pieces of what each of those headings are.
Now, has this what's been on all along on the website? So actually just bringing it to the forefront and letting people know that it's there for them to view what our task is. I'll entertain a motion to approve the role of the Townsend Housing Authority.
Second.
I make a
Okay,
motion.
first, second. Any further discussion? No, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Thank you, the motion carries.
And Madam Chair, that's up to 1.11.
So, next on the agenda, 1.12, vote to change current THA board positions. Votes may be taken. As I just read, we have a resignation coming up, and Carol Toole was our clerk, so that's going to need to change. Do I have a motion?
I have actually had a conversation with Natalie and in regards to would she be interested, and she has affirmed that. So I'd like to make a motion to make Natalie the clerk of the Townsend Housing Authority.
I second.
Okay. Any further discussion? You're good, Natalie?
I'm good.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Congratulations, Natalie. Thank you so much for taking that on.
I also make a motion to keep Laura Schifrin as the chairman of the Townsend Housing Authority.
I second that, definitely.
As long as you're right here with me.
That's right, that's another thing.
My right arm.
So any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, let's, we've all been sent the 2018 annual report. And has everyone had a chance to read it? And did you got my note?
Yep, it should be all in there.
Okay. Okay, I was fine with the rest of it.
Okay. I also changed the header as you had asked
Yes,
me on all of those, so.
Okay, this is the 2018 report, so the header is correct, okay? For 19, it's going to change, obviously, because of the resignation now, but for 18, that's correct. I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2018 annual report, which will be sent to the Selectman's office.
I make a motion to approve the 2018 annual report to be sent to the BOA.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much. That was a lot of work that just got done.
Yes.
Okay. We met with town council before the special town meeting, and we thought we had an agreement with his verbiage. So, obviously that didn't happen. We'll go into further discussion after we handle this one motion. So we need to meet with legal counsel again. So I notified Carolyn Smart and asked her when the next, when our next time was, because he was supposed to be here once a month kind of thing. So she didn't know. She did get back to me and say, I believe it's January 16th.
Yes.
And it's from 2 to 4. The problem with that is most of us work. And, 4 o'clock to get here and have a discussion with the council isn't really always a good thing. So anyway, subject to the meeting tonight, with the approval of the board, Carolyn has held 4 o'clock as our time to go. I will be able to make time to go. Chaz won't be able to make it. And we were the ones that met with him the last time. So if I could have a directive from the board to vote that I meet with town council on January 16th at 4 p.m. It's only a 15-minute thing, and the purpose of that meeting will be basically to have him further investigate any issues that he has with the land that we had proposed, and it would be a brief meeting. I would also be asking him, and that's the form that needs to be filled out, that he attend our next meeting. So that'll be part of the purpose of my conversation there. And let me just see, because my intent is to try to do that now. And I don't have my calendar. Okay.
What do you need?
A motion.
Yeah,
Calendar was.
Yeah. In February,
It's going to need a magnifying glass.
it's on Wednesday. I will be. So, if it pleases the board, February 13th, which is a Wednesday night, does that work? Okay. So the motion would be...
6 o'clock?
Well, we're 6:30
6:30,
tonight.
okay. Okay.
Okay, so we'll ask him to attend that meeting.
Can you make a motion?
I make a motion that we set,
Appoint Lori to...
appoint Lori to go to the meeting with town council on January 16th at 4 PM.
Second.
Okay. So I'll move forward with that, with Carolyn Smart, and that form that has to be filled out. Once I meet with him, I'll actually take that form with me when I meet with him.
Do we need to vote?
Yeah, we need to...
We need to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we're a little early on what I had on the agenda for the discussion of the town meeting. So, if it pleases, I'll just go through the mail, which will be quick. There is one thing that has to be shredded. Again, we've brought this up at many meetings, and we do send out letters telling the agencies that we do not have housing. This housing authority does not have funds nor properties that we rent out. So, and these are all applications that need to be shredded. So, Natalie, this is your job. And
With those, if we can, the agency, if I may, is that, okay.
Contact officer.
There's a letter that I'll email you.
Okay.
That goes with that.
All right.
Lets the agency know that we don't hold any real property and we're not part of a lottery.
Okay.
And that we have shredded the information that was provided.
there's a form letter, and hopefully Beth can help you get to it, because there used to be land use. We had a land use coordinator that did a lot of this stuff.
Okay, I have all those
before.
letters.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
there's a
Let me
form
know.
letter that can be used
Okay.
to send that out. And then this last piece was asking for our annual report, which we have
Which is
completed. So that's the mail. And then, if it's okay with everybody, we'll just, regarding the budget, Neely, if you could just find out when the form has to be into the Finance Committee for the next fiscal year,
Okay.
when they're requesting that, because I haven't seen anything come out yet. And then maybe a couple of, maybe you and Betty could work on that
Okay.
together.
All right.
Bess. Okay.
Can I ask Bess a question since you brought
Yes.
that up? If I needed some assistance with like a research or something like that, would you be able to help me out with it? Simple stuff.
You mean like online type of thing?
Yeah.
At the library, whatever.
Well, I
Can you go?
I have computer.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
So if I needed some help with that, I could
Yeah.
ask you for that? Okay. Because I wasn't really sure, because I think that would help me out immensely if I can, because I'll be very specific on what is needed, and if I can ship it over to you and you can ship it back to me, I would be forever in your debt.
Okay, if it's pretty straightforward where I
Yep.
need to go and stuff.
Yep.
I can-
Awesome.
Yep, it will be.
Sure.
It
We
will
all
be.
need to get involved to get this done.
Sure.
But it's really like nitty gritty. I need figures. I need to know a number on this and a number on that kind of stuff that I'm kind of running into some hard time getting those put
Oh,
together.
okay.
So I'm just looking for, if you could research the things, then I'll put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
I might ask you a lot of questions.
That's
Just
okay.
letting you know.
That's okay. That's okay.
And instead of waiting until the end of the meeting, where I sometimes forget, I would ask the public that if there's anyone interested in doing the videography for this meeting, that Hartley would like some assistance as well. And if there's somebody in the high school or the college area that's interested in this type of thing, this would be a great start for you. And I know Hartley would be happy to train someone. So again, if there's someone out there interested, you can fill out a volunteer form, and that form would go to Hartley. Okay? Now I've done that and I won't forget. Okay, so the next 3 topics that are on the agenda are all going to be taking some time. So why don't we go right into what I have down here is 2.1. And I want to thank you all for coming. Joe, thank you for being here, and Kim. I know that you both had a great deal of comments in reference to our warrant article. So we're happy that you're here, and we'd like to be able to discuss how you came up with your comments, and perhaps there's an explanation that we can give you, or we can work out what should be our next step.
I guess I'd first start with that town meeting did vote to table that warrant article indefinitely.
That's not what John Barrett said.
I actually checked with Kathy on her notes, and I checked the videotape, and
Yeah.
the motion was to move to table the warrant article 23 indefinitely. It was seconded by various people in the crowd and then voted on 2/3 vote.
Why wouldn't John Barrett tell me that? I didn't hear the indefinitely. I did watch the tape.
Very plainly, Keith Jackson is a resident.
Yeah, I spoke to Keith as well.
Yes, but as a resident, I want that plainly stated, because he stated that as a resident, as I stated my comments as a resident. We were not attached to any organization when we spoke. He said I moved to table this warrant article indefinitely. And I did call the clerk on that. Happy to have a discussion with you as well, because a different warrant article could certainly be created at some point in time, should a project be feasible. But that particular one was indefinite.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to jump in here and say absolutely, and it has been tabled, and that's what we're discussing now, what our next steps are.
Okay, so I watched the tape. I wish I had been here so that I might have been able to at least ask questions, if not rebut some of the information that was given. One, Joe, you were very adamant about we should be doing senior housing, we need to get other funding, why don't we do HUD? And that was stated a couple of times. Since 2010, we've been stating in most of our meetings, and also to the Board of Selectmen, there is no HUD 202 funding anymore, which is why all we have for the asset is our land.
So let's talk about that rather than calling out what people. Let's start with first.
Well, Joe has his hand up.
Right, but I do think there should be some ground rules. So town meeting is the purest form of democracy. Each of us as residents should feel very comfortable speaking in favor or in opposition
Agreed.
of anything, and shouldn't be called out for statements that they might have said. I think
If they're in error,
I don't think it's proper. There were two folks from Townsend Housing Authority there. I don't think it's proper to call out individuals. I think it's better, Lori, to talk about topics. Just like when we're at town meeting, we speak through the moderator.
Yes.
And we do not admonish somebody for their opinion. We ask for clarity. So I think that's a really helpful starting ground, that maybe we can give you our opinions and we can have a conversation about those. But to be sort of chastised by you, quite honestly.
I'm not chastising
I didn't
Joe.
see- I'm sorry.
I am
I
not
didn't feel
chastising
that
you.
way
I
at
am
all.
speaking for myself to say that you were blindsided, that we were blaming
We were
you.
blindsided.
Yeah.
Lori, I do not agree with that. I spoke with you and Chaz the week prior, and you said, I want to know if you have questions, and I said, yes, I do. Chaz was very gracious. He gave me a booklet. I followed up with Soldier On. I called Sheila Harrington's office multiple times. And our only avenue to discuss this with you was at the town meeting floor, because there was no public hearing. So that was our only time to bring it up. You had a public meeting.
We did,
You
yeah.
had a public meeting, but you did not have a public hearing. It was dubbed as an information session with Soldier On. You and I corresponded about that. It was during the workday. I could not attend, but that was not an official public hearing with the typical public hearing notices that this was going to be a warrant article. You voted on the warrant article after that, so we had no other opportunity, once we found out that you had gone forward with the warrant article, to discuss that with the board until the meeting.
Well, I apologize for not having the proper form to do that, because what we did was through town council and the Board of Selectmen, so we thought we were doing the right process, and no one said to us, you can't put this, because not every article that was on the warrant had a public hearing.
No, but big ones like the medical marijuana, we did have.
Yes, we did.
We had an opportunity to
Yes,
talk
we
about
did.
that. And what I heard from you and Chaz that night was that you did not have an agreement with Soldier On, but your meeting minutes reflect differently.
Right.
When you moved to partner with Soldier On. So that's what started me looking at what this process was all about, because of my affiliation with another committee, I had read what your role was, and I had read what your goals were, and none of it talked about that veteran housing except for the 215 plan. There was one line to say investigate it. So then doing my research, a lot of this came as a bit of a surprise. The fact that you did take a motion to partner with somebody while it would have been stopped somehow through procurement, that raised a red flag, because why Soldier On? And then listening to the rest of your meetings and talking to Soldier On, they're saying once they get the land, federal funding dictates what the priorities are. 50 is the minimum, 75 was his ideal. I had talked briefly with you at the marijuana public hearing, where you were talking about all of the coverage that they had, but that's on-call coverage out of Berkshire County. So there was lots of different questions that came up. And then when I watched your subsequent meeting, when you talked about all these different styles of housing, some of them I think are quite interesting, the townhomes and some community centers, but Soldier On says, well, no, we don't do that. So there was just a lot of conflicting information.
But we
And-
also weren't done. And we also stated that this was the beginning, the first step. There's a lot of things that have to happen afterwards. And it wasn't just 3 meetings. There were
I
18,
don't disagree
24
with you. I don't disagree with you on that, but once you and I had talked about that meeting back in October, and I started doing the other research, what you were saying, what Soldier On was saying, was not congruent. And when we reflect back on what your role is, understand the affordable housing needs of the community, the fact that we have very limited land, as you know, that can be built on. We have a very pressing problem in our future about the housing for our elderly, our residents here. And then to learn from Soldier On that indeed no one from Townsend or probably Ashby or Pepperell, sort of our neighborhood, is eligible for this housing.
But they're not ineligible either.
They're not ineligible, but there's nobody that, he said, the likelihood of someone from our area, our neighborhood, becoming residents there is not very high because of the population that he's going to serve. And so when I think of our limited resources, and if we are going to, as it seems Soldier On did in some of their other communities, get land for $1, we should be going to RFP about the needs of our town. And, you know, I think what Sue Licio said at your meeting in October, now we need to have a meeting with everybody before we move forward. I think that's an awesome idea. And I mentioned that at the town meeting as well. After watching that public session, I forget what you called it, Chas, but after watching that, I thought that was the next step. Not getting this land signed away, and the original warrant was to give it to Soldier On.
Right. And
Can I address that? I agree with you in what you're saying, but we had when we had brought the article to town council and talked with town council, we were basically told that we did put the cart before the horse at that particular time. All right, I put that article together as we had done articles before for the last two properties, Townsend Woods and Atwood Acres. Having said that, the main purpose for us right now is to do a feasibility study. We don't know what's going to be put on that land, all right? Everything has been, we have our ideas on what we want, and our ideas are being fueled by the funding. There is funding available for us, and that's where our focus has been.
Veterans funding.
All right.
Understood that, but there's other, and I am trying to do my research on this, there's some new elderly housing units that are going to go up at Devon's. I want to learn how that is going to happen. Where did they get their funding? And if an RFP is constructed on the needs of Townsend, maybe there is someone interested in doing a project for elderly. If you are willing to sign over that land to soldier on for free, I'm sure there's a lot of builders in this neighborhood that might be interested in putting forth a proposal based on an RFP or a request
And
for
we
qualification.
entertain that.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And part of this is the cart before the horse kind of piece is that I agree. We did move a little more forward than what we should have. I agree with you there. But what we're trying to do is find out what's feasible on that particular land so that we know exactly what's going to be there, and we can't do anything until we are able to free up that land. That really is that is the piece of what we had in the article, was to allow the selectmen to be able to help us so that we could get to do a feasibility study and all of that.
Can we back up a step further and do a needs assessment of the housing for Townsend, what's needed? And I don't know if you received the email, but MRPC just came out with their grant
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way for us to work collaboratively.
Right.
To put forward a grant proposal to them to say, let's do the needs assessment first. Not even the feasibility study.
Right.
Because to do the feasibility on what's possible on the land is before we even know what we might need. Seems like it's a really quick turnaround if there's a favorable response. If we get in by March, we know by April, you get in by May. There's just, a quick review. That could give us the tools for both. Now, I will say, from the master plan perspective, a needed piece to finalize what we're doing with master plan, a needed piece what Townsend Housing is doing. It really fulfills two missions to do that full assessment.
Well, it could be three, because in that needs assessment, we could also entertain, because we do agree, and we wish we had more time, beforehand, but because we heard that veterans housing, the money for veterans is more easily accessible and quicker than anything else. But
I got a question.
having said that, the Housing Authority needs to do a survey this year, and have a forum like we did in 2014 before the 215. So that could definitely give us our needs, because at the 214 one is when we heard a lot of people talk about accessory apartments and what they wanted and being able to add on or have a two-family. And we haven't even got, since that time, we still haven't gotten in the planning stages of allowing the two families. But we had a good turnout and we got a lot of feedback. So, and we used MRPC for that. I'd like us all to work together, because I think we can get more out of one session, out of one grant with MRPC, than each one asking for something individually. Like the master plan should have a chapter plan in it for housing,
Right.
a housing chapter in it.
And we do, but we could use some of the numbers,
Yeah,
right? So
The
we don't
new
have those,
numbers.
you don't have those.
And we could
all-
use you for the
Right.
information and for
Right.
I agree 100%. And in our conversation that we had, I want this dialogue. I want to be open. The main thing is that we're willing to look at anything. okay? We're absolutely willing to have a discussion about anything. The warrant article really was to basically get to be able to look at that land. It was, there are other steps involved in it. I don't have a problem, and I'm speaking for what we have talked about. If we need to step back a few steps and revisit this, I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with it.
Chaz,
Okay.
if you freed up the land, what would happen to the property?
We don't know.
The process would be that the selectmen now have the ability to, they're the authority to say yes or no to whatever
I
we
understand
do that.
But
Yeah.
if the land's freed up and it's open, where does it go from there?
The feasibility study is next.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Well, here's the thing. The reason why we were really impressed with Soldier On, and since your discussion of bringing out how your discussion went with Soldier On, we were taken aback by that too. So I reached out.
In a positive way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to Soldier On, and he couldn't make it here tonight, and neither could Keith, but Keith actually sent an email that I thought I was going to print it off and have it for the board, but it's not here. But Keith is still willing to work with us. That's not, that's not it. What we saw in each vendor, if you will, or partner in all the meetings that we had, was once you partner with somebody, they help you get everything else. And that's what happened when we did Townsend Woods. Because we had already worked with a vendor, being RCAP, because they had done such a good job with helping us get the HUD 202 funding for the first building, it took us 3 applications with that vendor to get funding. And then we ended up with the last 202 HUD funding in HUD 202 funding for senior housing in the nation in 2010. So immediately after that, we started thinking veterans. Okay, but it was discussion. There was nothing acted on. We had a lot of reasons why that didn't happen in all the years since. But now that we've interviewed as many places as we did, and we knew that they would partner with us on the feasibility, because in getting the cost of the feasibility study from MRPC, which was $35,000, we thought it would be easier to have our partner. And we invited RCAP to come, although they don't manage veterans. They never did. We had at least 6 vendors that we talked to. So maybe we didn't have the RFP out there, but we were working with people that do the partnering that we knew that we would need.
Okay, so there's more than one type of veterans housing.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
I guess they brought that up when they made their plans here.
Mm-hmm.
That there's transitional housing.
Yes.
There's permanent housing. There's subsidization housing where they can go buy their own homes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So certain things that they have to meet. Now this is a conglomerate company. They're big. They go all throughout the whole United States.
They are.
They have money. They get their money from banks like everybody else does to go out and build these places. Once they build these places, they control them. You have no say in them anymore. Once they run them,
That's what happened with
That's with
RCAP.
that, yeah.
We didn't know that.
I know that, I'm just saying that. So what I'm trying to say is that if they go, now for instance, they just refurbished the place out in Leeds, down by Northampton. That was given to them from the Veterans Administration. They have to follow the Veterans Administration rules. They have to ensure that every veteran that goes in there is being compensated, that they have VA compensation or VA health issues, okay? So if they come in here and they put in a unit, say for instance you went with them, and they came in here and put in a unit in, and the unit was transitional housing, well now you're getting into something a little bit more greater, because transitional housing requires medical facilities, it requires people to be taken care of, and it's only temporary, and it's
I
mostly
don't think we were going that way.
no, I
We
know
were
you
not
weren't
going
going
that
that
way.
way, but let me tell you something, once they get that control,
They can do
they
what
can
they
do
want.
anything they want.
Well, that was not our intent. And that's why we say to you, this was so much step one. It was not our intent. That's not what we're going to do. That wouldn't be anything that we would agree to. So, you know what? Everything for a reason. And I think that we are happy that it didn't pass, because our next step is to talk to legal counsel to see if possibly we can work with the land and get because that takes months. It's not something that's easy. It goes through the courts to get it done. And once we have that, and the selectmen have that in their name and they take it over to Housing Authority, then we can decide what we want to do with that. Really look seriously and step by step what we're going to do with that. Because I was very disheartened that I never got an email back. I asked 4 times for Jack to please listen to those 18 minutes only, on that tape, and please give me the input of, you know, what he was thinking when he was telling you all that he was telling you. Because we were just, honestly, disheartened. So thought, okay, everything for a reason, and it didn't pass this time for us to be able to look at this through different eyes. And we would want to partner with somebody who would do what we decided was best for the town. And through the feasibility or through the needs study. And we knew we were coming up on that, you know, we'd have to have a public forum for the Housing Authority plan. I mean, we have lots of things to look at as far as that goes. You know, and that does involve planning board for bylaw changes, zoning board for, you know, and zoning, and the zoning official for interpretation. So,
You know, the town itself, now Townsend only has 555 veterans listed. Pepperell has 647, Ashby under 200. So you got, what, less than 1,000 veterans? Let's say 1,300 veterans in the whole area for 3 towns. As my concern is this, is putting veterans housing in. I'm just using veterans housing. I don't care what you do with that. And I support veterans housing, don't get me wrong, because I dealt with homeless vets. And in the 13 years I've been here, I only had 3 homeless vets, and I got them places to stay. 3 homeless vets in Townsend. Pepperell had some, Ashby had none, 1. Okay, so the point I'm trying to say is that the transitional housing, if you put transitional housing in, the town's going to pick up some expense because you're going to be paying out Chapter 115 benefits for transitional housing. That's automatic because that's $184 for every person that's in there. The town would have to pay, but we get that back in 75%.
but that wasn't brought up either.
Yeah, and we still got to come up with $250,000. I mean, $250,000 if we're paying out $500,000. The town still has to come up with that money. But the point I'm trying to say is that, irregardless, the point I'm trying to say is that we don't have the infrastructure in the town at this time to support veterans housing. We don't have transportation, we don't have employment. We got Sterilite, but they bring in veterinary guys down there, you know, temporary hires, they bring in so they can save on the tax money and stuff like that. So, you know, and so what else we have? We don't have transportation going from one town to another town, even though Soldier On and the Northeast Outreach, they got their own vans, but they don't take people to work every day. They take people to medical appointments. They take people to be treated, to VA hospital and stuff. You're not going to take people to down in Fitchburg for a job, or Leominster to get a job. You don't have the transportation structure. So, and even the senior housing, they don't go nowhere. They stay there.
Yeah, they
have
do.
a bus once in a while to pick them up.
Yeah, they do.
I know that, but I mean, they don't
Well, we
go
have
out
a
every
senior
day.
housing person here on the board. This is why we have a
I
senior
mean,
housing
but
person on the board.
They don't get out, they're not looking for jobs, that's for sure.
No, they're not looking for jobs.
Okay, so they're not
Depends
looking for
on how old
employment.
they are. and-
So if you went
What
into,
they're
say
helping.
Soldier On put a place up there, their maximum is 35,000. Okay, 35,400 is the minimum income, the maximum income that they could have to get into their housing. That's on their website, okay? Now, so these people are gonna be looking for jobs, or maybe they're unemployed. Okay, so where are they gonna go? I mean, I'm just saying is that the infrastructure really don't support veterans housing. Like Worcester, they have Vet Inc. down there. That's a wonderful place. I just put a girl a woman 4 weeks ago, into a homeless vet from Townsend. I put her down there for 2 years. And she's being taken care of. But it's right down the road. You got Veterans Outreach up in Gardner. You got Veterans down in Pepperell. You got the Schofield House down there for veterans. And we have HUD housing out in Pepperell, I know that. But down in Leominster, they have temporary housing for veterans if they need a place to sleep overnight. So I mean, and Devon's is opening up more places for them at Devon's for homeless vets and people who need temporary housing for 2 years. So it's around here, and and at Devon's they have the facilities there to cover that. That's run by Vet Inc. So I mean, I was just saying is that, you know, if you go that direction, I don't care which direction you go. I mean, personally, I support veterans because that's my job. But I feel that, you know, before you make a decision to go there, cross all the T's.
Yep.
Well, that's our intent, it really is.
Because when that was proposed at the meeting, I said, wait a minute, what are you doing? You said veterans housing. Well, veterans housing means you're specifically looking at that particular area, because if they put it in, that covers Townsend 40B. You catch up right there and then. You don't have to worry about 40B anymore, right?
Well, not quite.
Well, you don't have to.
We
but
wouldn't
you-
be at 10%
But because you
yet.
haven't met your standards yet in Townsend.
We haven't.
You're way behind. So if
Yeah.
they put that in, boom. But for them to get federal funding, they have to go according to some standard to the Veterans Administration. If you want to get that funding from them.
Well, we really need to look at that, and, I mean,
That's them, not
Yeah.
you.
yeah, I know, but,
Yeah.
but
Soldier
for
on,
our
talking about
decision,
whoever puts it in.
for our decision, we do. And so, I guess I thank you for looking into the 3 meetings that you did and coming up with those questions that you did, and giving us like a step back, you know, and let's do this, because we have to do the housing plan again now anyway, and I think that doing everything that we need to do for that is going to give us an idea for after, and we need a couple of more rounds with the legal counsel in reference to how we can, because, I mean, if it was up to me, actually, it was funny, because I felt, you know how sometimes you get a funny feeling in your stomach when you're reading
True.
something? And when I read, this is the honest to God's truth, when I read the warrant article, I said to myself, even though I thought I was 100% sure, that I thought to myself, I wonder if we should be saying that it's going to be soldier on. That's what I got when I wonder if we could we be saying to take this step, but not name the person. You have to understand that the last time we did this, we had staff, we had people writing the stuff that we are now writing. So what we did was we followed the last article, not thinking that article was written the same as the prior article that was when the land was taken out. And because our relationship with RCAP was so good on the first one, so the article was written the same on the second one. We thought we had to name someone, and I don't think we did.
I would say you absolutely didn't, but I can see where you would think that you would because of past practice. And I think that, you know, hindsight is always 20/20. It's easy to be the quarterback when the game's over. So looking at it, it's easy to see why you were excited about the prospect of it. Their facilities do have good reviews. They seem like they're doing a good job. Nothing against them. It just came down to, wait, this is a town asset that they want to give to someone without anyone else having the opportunity to bid on what they could do with free land, which could be an amazing potential if that's the route that our town decides to go. And I think not having the tie-in of all the assessments of exactly what we need, you know, so it's sort of this plan of, and we talk about this at various meetings, of you know, we're all getting older. I have a big house. Who's going to come buy my big house? And where am I going to go? I'm fortunate I have a plan B of where I can go back to a small house where I started. Not everybody has that, and so everybody in our age bracket has to start thinking about that, right? What are we going to do next? And when we see an asset that might be a lot of people in towns, what do we do next? I think that really ties into understanding the affordable housing needs of our community. Rather than, and I get it's easy, it's so easy when there's money out there to say, let's grab that money. But maybe there is a way around it if we all get our heads together and we get this assessment through that free program with MRPC. Let's cross our fingers. And then we move forward with what are the needs. And then I think at town meeting, if they hear this assessment was done and this is what we need for our town and this is then how the feasibility study works on the land,
Correct.
I think is a really good path forward.
Well, if I could just throw out a couple of points at you too. My personal concern has been a 40B to come in and like a Whalum Park kind of
Yeah.
thing
And we
happen.
really don't gain anything.
Right.
We only stay on a level playing field when they come in with 40B because they have that right because we haven't reached it, yet they're not going to increase it for us, okay? Because they only have to do 10% of what they build, so we do not move up when that happens.
So, as what I have been looking at to protect the town, to be honest with you, is that we need to have a plan that we are making progress on. We've
Yeah.
been doing it. We're making progress, even though we haven't decided on anything and we have no direction to go right now. If the Attorney General looked at what we were doing, we've been making progress, all right? So
Except
that,
this last year, we didn't, we
yeah,
regressed.
Yeah, we had a little bit of time. But having said that, the dialogue that we're having right now is the dialogue that we have been wanting to have for a long time. We have had meetings, we've invited people, you know, the more help that we can get on our direction, the better, I think, at this point. All right? Joe, I want to answer your question as well. Your question was, when it goes to the selectmen, what happens next? All right? The way the land is set up, the land has been deeded to the town, and it basically allows the selectmen, you know, to decide, you know, if it's a good thing or not. What we would want to do is follow a process that Kim had outlined and definitely have a hearing on it and stuff before we even put pen to paper in regards to what is going to actually happen with that land. This initial warrant was really to take it out of the that old deed that was there and put it into the selectmen to be able to make a decision on it.
So if the selectmen make a decision on it based on what?
Our recommendation.
And
Yeah,
the recommendation,
it's
so if you
Townsend
say,
Housing.
we want to do a feasibility study with such and so and so and so, they can authorize that on a vote themselves without going to the town.
The Board of Selectmen can.
Yeah.
Right, so that doesn't go to the town.
No.
So the town people have no say in what they're going to do with that land.
Well, in the past, like I said, because of the relationships and how things went when there was staff in town for doing this, because the boards had worked together then, they already knew that it was going to be our cap. Okay, for both Atwood, which went through the processes of RFP, when it came to Townsend, I was on at the time, when it came to Townsend Woods, we had town council, we had a land use coordinator, and we had the Board of Selectmen all on board. We didn't have to do the RFP because we had such a good relationship with RCAP at the time, okay? We couldn't do that this time. So
So are they
Like a
going to
s-
sell that land? Or are they going to just give it
no,
away?
we can't sell it.
Yeah.
Can't sell it.
No, it's for a certain purpose.
Yep.
And the purpose is for affordable, not affordable housing in those
For the-
words, but for the
the needy.
needy. For the
What would
needy.
happen is that the selectman has to follow what the deed had stated, and the deed stated that the
For
land
the
is for
intent.
for the needy, so it has to be low to moderate income housing. It has
Yes.
to go on that land.
Okay, so it has to be, so, okay, I follow you on that.
Yeah.
It doesn't say specifically in his deed, low to moderate income housing,
Mm-hmm.
but it says need. So when we needed that senior, and that was affordable housing, Townsend Woods is Atwood is different than Townsend Woods. Atwood was affordable housing, so you had disabled, you had It was income-based only, even though you had a lot of elderly there. When Townsend Woods was built, that was senior housing only. You couldn't have a 20-year-old vet. You could, which happened, okay, in Atwood. So those two things, basically what they did with the second one when they went to court, the second piece to pull out, was they used the same criteria. You know, it was going to be housing for the low to moderate income.
And they just changed it from the disabled to senior
well,
housing.
affordable.
Affordable
They changed it from affordable
to senior
senior
But
housing.
they used the same verbiage for that.
And then because it was for the needy, it's income-based.
So the only thing I would say that if you went, and this is all my own opinion, okay? This has nothing to do from what I stand for, is that if you went with veterans housing, I would suggest that you people talk to these people and say, first of all, what type of housing are you going to put in for affordable housing for the veteran? This way you have an idea which direction they're going to go. And I would get that in writing.
Yes, absolutely.
I would get that in writing so
Absolutely.
that they could not change their mind.
Yep.
Right.
Okay? And
That's
if they
the-
go transitional, what transitional is the most important in my life as far as veterans go, because you're taking care of people who have post-traumatic stress disorder, drug and alcohol. Now, yeah, you're bringing in people from all over, but they have problems and they got to be solved. And we have a lot of people out there committing suicide and all that stuff, you know? So we got to, that's something that has to be addressed. But if you go to the other housing, apartment housing, you know, just for, and make sure that when you talk to these people, that they have accommodations for females.
If it's
Because a lot
veterans,
of
yeah.
them don't have accommodation. If you have all males, you're not going to put females in with them.
Right.
You have to separate and
Right.
segregate the two parties.
He said that over and over and over.
Yeah, do they do it though? See, there's, you have to get that in writing, okay? Because if you don't get that in writing, they can do what they want. Like I say, once they take it and they build it,
Yeah,
they control it by their rules.
we know,
And they can do anything they want.
we know.
And I can't step in, even though I'm a veteran, so I can't step in and say, well, you're gonna do this.
I think any partner, something that I was naive about, because like I said, before we had staff that basically guided us through everything. And I was naive about the fact that the town had no control. I never ever knew
I know
that.
that.
In all the years that that I volunteered here on Housing Authority, I never knew that we lost control until issues came up 3 and 4 years ago.
I talked to the veterans agent down in, the veteran service officer down in Northampton, the female down there. And they have a lot of housing down there from Soldier on. And she has nothing to do with them. She says, we have to pay out money because of the Chapter 115 benefits and the VA pays out their portion, whatever compensation. But they don't get involved in that. I mean, they can't get involved because it's not their area of responsibility. But they can send people there, say, hey, I got a homeless vet, or I got a person looking for housing or something. But they have criteria. They use a lottery to get in those places too.
Right, well, here it's the same thing when
Yeah,
it starts.
right.
You have
When
to
it
have
starts,
a
you have
lottery.
Then after that, it's a waiting list, whoever comes first.
Yeah.
But on veterans housing, the disabled come first before another veteran. If
Correct.
he's disabled, 100%, whatever, 70%, then he gets a priority on that. They do that, which is good. But, you know, I mean, just that, you know, whatever direction you go, just make sure that you get all the T's crossed, because, you know, I mean, the infrastructure is not here. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I have difficulty getting people to Fitchburg to get on the bus to go to somewhere down to Bedford, or go to Leeds, or go to
Yeah.
Worcester. You know, we have transportation in Fitchburg for veterans. They can get the tickets there, no cost to them. I go through the, you know, Fitchburg MRT down there, the MART. And
Right.
we get, and we get them to get out there, but it's difficult. It is difficult, and especially when veterans get older, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't have any volunteers running around saying, oh, well, we'll give you a ride, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I appreciate because we have been looking at the numbers that Selectman King had quoted, which, or the 115. I had no idea about that kind of stuff. So
what's that, about what?
The comment was Chapter 115 money How that happens and that the town is responsible for a portion of that, I had no idea about.
Yeah, the
The town
town is
has to front
responsible,
the money.
but the...
Front the money, but you get 75%
You're
back.
75%, but that comes like
That-
a year later.
Right, but we didn't know
And that goes
anything
into the
about
general
that.
fund. So, I was talking to somebody, I said, well, you know what they should do? If they get this money back and say you do put in veterans housing and you do have, and she told me out there in Northampton that their chapter 115 is really not that high.
Yeah,
It's moderate, it's not really blown out of proportion, but they got a bigger community than we do. And she said that, they meet their goals, and the town, the law states you have to come up with the funding.
yeah,
So, I don't have a crystal ball, I can't tell you every year what it's gonna be like.
yeah.
But, we do pay out, this year we're gonna pay out about 70,000, which is
Now,
not...
is that the line item that was quoted as 50,000? That we
No,
have
they gave me
50,000 in our budget?
50,000 this year, I gotta get another 20,000 from reserve transfer, but
Okay.
that's a
but
different
then-
story.
So then when that comes back, so it comes back a year later. When that comes back, does it go to that line item so that you're
No, it doesn't. It
replenishing?
goes in the general fund, and the town has to appropriate it. See, they don't do it that way. See, it doesn't come back, and it comes back on a cherry sheet,
Yeah.
and it says Veterans Fund. That includes your rebates from your property rebates for veterans who get $400 for 10% or up,
Yeah.
1,000. That all comes back in one lump sum.
I get
So
it.
some is 100%, some is 80%,
Yeah.
some is 75%.
Which
That
is a
comes back.
budgeting nightmare.
So it
That's
goes
what
into the
sounds
general
like.
fund, then the town can do what they want with that.
Yeah.
But it's still, it's their money,
Yeah,
it's the taxpayers' money. But it doesn't go back into my account. But they're obligated by law to give me what I need, no matter what. They have to pay that money, no matter what. So they're obligated by law.
Yeah.
They say, okay, if I have 100,000, they gotta come up with 100,000, or 500,000, whatever.
But then the idea is that the town needs to know they get 75% back
Yeah, the town gets
into
on
their...
chapter 115.
Yeah.
And on other ones, on your abatements and stuff like that, it's a little bit different scale.
Yeah,
It's a different scale,
right.
okay? So it's a different scale, but that's a whole different ballpark for the tax assessor. But on chapter 115, it's 75% back on that. So, but it's just that, and don't get me wrong, if anybody goes into transitional housing, you'll have a lot of people with chapter 115. Those are people with the problems, okay? If you go into the other type of housing, which they have the apartments and stuff that they can live in, a lot of those people will not, say maybe 50% maybe, or maybe 60%. I'm just giving an offhand thing. But you won't be 100% chapter 115. There's no
Right.
way you can do
No.
that. It never
but
happens.
We
just
saw that
the
at the one we
logistics
saw.
on it is enough for us to be, because I was kind of surprised to hear that, number one, but number two is, when I started really digging into it, I'm like, I didn't know about this. This was something that I didn't know about. And I appreciate the fact that you brought it up,
Well,
because I
some
wasn't
of
aware.
the points that were brought up, Cindy Kane were off a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Well, we caught that.
Yeah.
But,
But I appreciate the fact that they were brought up, and this is the information that, for me personally, that, it opened the discussion up even more, and I think that's the best thing, all right? To
Well, no, but
be
you have
able
a
to-
good base, you have a good base here for veterans, and they're very active, so, as far as support goes, I think you have support for veterans, but, like I said, if you're gonna deal with some of these organizations, like Northeast Outreach, or Soldier
They were
On,
here
or
too,
Veterans Inc., I don't know if Veterans Inc. was called in on this.
they were
Yeah,
called,
they did a
And they're a good
presentation.
organization, but you
Yeah.
gotta look at them from all perspectives.
Right.
And that's where where I think we all need to be more collaborative in that. I think we can be, with what we have, we need to be creative, but we need to make sure that, A, we're meeting the needs of the town, and the town's need is to make sure that we have that affordable housing. We are working towards that.
And make sure you tell the town that if you go the veterans route, people from other towns can apply.
Yeah.
They're gonna come into the.
but they do now, Joe, too.
Right.
In
That's
the
the
senior housing.
I know that.
Yeah, they're
I know
not just
that. I know that.
Townsend.
But,
No.
who pays the tax? Do they pay, does Soldier On pay a tax for that?
Yes.
Soldier On, one of the reasons why, and Sue was there at that one too, was the fact that they do pay taxes. And
Who pays the tax? They do?
Yeah.
Or-
they do,
They do.
they do, to the town. And it's more than what we get from our cap. So we just don't have the exact figure. So that was one of the interesting part, that they would be, one that they would offer services to any veterans around. In other words, not necessarily if they lived here.
Qualified.
Did you ever get a financial report from them, about
Qualified
how much their
veterans.
budget goes to their administration and how much goes to the veteran or whatever? You ever get that from them?
No.
You should get that. That's good to look at.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, just
we
like
have so
us.
far, we have so many things that we have to look at before we make decisions on each thing, and I know that that's how it was before. But I think our main goal first was to take, the first step was to take the land out, get the feasibility study done, or the survey thing that may give us a lot of information that we need for a lot of other things, and then decide later. Because in the meantime, we've looked at town-owned land. Okay, we've all had the list of town-owned land and where there might be something else available. I didn't see anything in the town-owned land, but we also, in that meeting, asked if somebody wanted to donate 10 acres of land to the town, philanthropist, whatever, you know, and we could use that. It wasn't that we were tied into that piece, but yes, it was very, it was looked upon very favorably to use that piece for our next project, okay?
And I think you still can do that. I think it's just reshaping collectively with groups and with an assessment of what the needs are. And maybe it is this really innovative mixed-use housing of elderly, income eligible, some veterans, and maybe it's not the 400 square foot single-person units, but maybe it is some family style apartments, or
We talked about all of that.
right. You all talked. That's where the disconnect, Lori, was. That
Well, we talked on
saying
tape.
This. Right.
It wasn't held closed.
You were all, exactly. So I could see you're imagining, you were talking about townhouses and this and that, and Soldier saying, nope, apartment style, 400 square feet, single person. I'm like, there's a disconnect here.
Yep. No, I
And that's-
totally get that.
That was,
Totally get that.
for me, the red flag, and to just say it's all veterans. I think we can come up with a really good
Where did you say
strategy.
that, well, who's doing senior housing? You said Shirley or Air?
I saw it, I think it's on Devon's proper.
Devon's property, yeah.
Yeah, they're putting up some senior housing, so I want to research that to
Yeah.
see how are they doing that.
Okay.
I could tell you, in the preliminary, a lot of it is they've had that earmarked for a long time for senior housing.
Right.
I want to say like 10, almost 15 years.
But are they doing it through a private developer? Did they get grant money?
It's, yeah,
So I don't know that. It's sort of like, what are the
it's
strategies
part of
that
mass
we could put in
development as
place?
well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, which they have access to other funding that we might not.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if it's true that we can't sell the land, and we invite a developer in to say, you know, we want 20 units that have to be this.
Yeah, we
want
can't sell
20
the land.
Right, but I know that Soldron has paid for some land, or they've paid $1 for some, but if you don't need to sell it, it might not require a firm that does housing for a particular entity, whether it be elderly or veterans, to build that. It could be just a developer to say, after the assessment that we hopefully get the money from MRPC to do, they say, these are the types of housing units we need, and then in order to get to that 10%, how do you structure that? So is it anyone that's income eligible? Is it elderly income eligible? Is it veterans income eligible? Or is it a composite of all? Because the requirement for the 10%, and what is it, 70% of per capita? How do they do the ratio?
Well, you have to have at least 10% in the town.
Right, but what's the per capita ratio?
70%.
70%.
Yeah.
So if it's 70% available per capita spaces for anybody, if it's so many units for elderly only, so many units for veterans only that meet that 70% threshold, and you lay that out based on whatever the needs assessment is, and say, wow, Townsend has this piece of property, builders, we're inviting you to do this. You might get
There
it.
might be some,
There
it's
might
not
be
big
some-
income.
And my concern in that is that we have to also look at the structure of the housing authority itself to be able to handle something like that.
Right.
That has a very large administrative cost to it. There has to be somebody to manage it. There has to be some, running lotteries, because we don't do dividends or any of it. That's what the reason why we went with our cap before, is because they're all doing that. So if we do something like that, we will have to have a bigger housing authority. We will have to probably,
department.
right? So
Management.
in that, I think is really, that would be the biggest bang for our buck, is to have multi-housing, maybe some veterans housing, some for disabled, other for elderly. I think that would be, a great use for that land. But we would have to have lotteries for each one of those specific populations. And that would be difficult for us as a board to be able to manage.
Right, and I know you have other agenda items, and I don't want to belabor it, but I think one thing if we can add to the list for follow-up conversations is figuring out the impact of whatever population it is on our other municipal services. So if it's all
Oh, yeah.
elderly, and it's more elderly than we already have, how does that impact the senior center and the staffing that Karen has, and for the public safety side of it?
Yeah, and that would all be part of what we would roll out first before we even
Yeah.
decided on what
And I
avenue
think
that we were
growth,
going.
I think there's room for growth
Yeah.
for that building and that
We gotta
facility.
find all that out.
Yeah.
Right.
Which can be part of the MRPC process too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, of course, the chief.
He's here as a citizen right now, but yes.
I like to address him as chief.
But other public safety, our fire, our EMT.
Right, exactly.
I didn't bring it up at town meeting because it's a long conversation that I think town committees need to get together on. But
Yeah.
there was significant calls for services. I was able to get some of that data for police, fire, and EMTs for the facilities that they're running. And so that needs to be considered too. We've got our EMS folks, if they're running calls out of the facility to, if they've got to go to different locations, what is that impact? And I don't know the answer to that on our EMS, but that's something that we need to think about too.
Well, I personally am willing to go back to the drawing board, in regards to where we are. I want to make sure that we are doing it. I don't want to go off half,
Yeah.
to do it. I definitely want to make sure that we are doing the correct thing. We are crossing the T's, we are dotting the I's, and making sure that we do that. As far as we're at right now, I think that, and I'm proposing this to the board, I'd like to be able to have a conversation with council in regards to what we've talked about tonight, and get some sort of direction where we need to go for the next, for our next steps. But as it stands now, I think that this is a lot of information that we can definitely take forward.
Sure. And just to put my master plan hat on now, we do have a meeting tomorrow night, and I am going to put the MRPC grant on the agenda as, not could have been reasonably expected by the chair when the agenda went out. I'll, if it's okay, give them the information from tonight that it would be good to work collaboratively, and maybe through the town administrator, we can figure out how to get one person from each board and committee together to, we gotta write that grant somehow.
And have like a joint grant,
Yes.
like multi-use kind of thing, so that, and no problem taking something from Shirley or whatever that's already been done for the permitting and zoning, because that's going to follow the stuff that has to do with housing.
Right.
Okay, so, I had another thought.
Did you want us to appoint somebody, or is this just kind of when you want to leave it open for now?
So this is what, I don't know how this would work for getting a committee of committees together. If the Board of Selectmen has to appoint that, if we can just appoint someone from the committees, I'm willing to send an email to the town administrator to ask him for guidance. And I can CC you, Lori, as chair, just to see what we need to do to get that group together in order to get the grant in for the March 3rd or March.
I didn't read it, I saw it come through and I sent it to Beth, and then she had already gotten it, so.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
should be
it's-
interdepartment kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep,
well, I was just saying it for our board, do you guys want to appoint somebody that if it does go to that point, that we appoint somebody to be eligible for that committee, or do you want to wait until you get direction from the
Do you want to do that?
yeah, sure.
Okay, well, we'll have Chaz sit on that, the joint one, but the whole thing is to try to get joint information that we can all use
Yeah,
Right, so that that's
for the things we need to do.
I'm guessing the selectmen would put forward the grant.
They put forward the grant.
Yeah.
And we should give them the input, they should do the grant to make sure it gets in by the deadline.
Yeah.
yeah. It's formatted properly and it goes in for the
Yeah.
deadline, definitely. I'm open to that. I'm completely open to that.
And I sit on MRPC.
Chess,
So-
did any other outreach reach out to you for housing?
For veterans housing,
Yeah.
we saw,
We had CDAC, we had people from New Hampshire, from Worcester, from Western Mass.
hang on, I have,
I mean, did they come in and made a presentation?
Yep.
Yeah,
Did?
and we invited our CAP, but they never came.
How about, I know Northeast was out here, I know that.
Yeah, we have, all of the meetings we've had since August of last year are taped, and I think all but one of the groups, we interviewed one before that,
there's Veterans Inc., there's Veterans Count,
got on tape.
there's Soldier On, there's Leeds, there's Northeast. We invited and they didn't come out, and there was one more that I didn't put in there because they never responded to us.
Okay.
No, it was not our CAP, it was another veterans organization.
And they showed an interest in building some type of facility,
Mhm.
all of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody that came out.
Yeah, they
See, that
basically said
wanted
what
us to sign a
what was in
contract.
their wheelhouse, what they've done in the
Yeah.
past.
I know what they've done. I mean,
Yeah, no, but I mean that they presented what they've done in the past,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
And we looked at that.
Our, our first, I think weren't you at one? Well, I know you were at
I
one.
was at Northeast one, when the Northeast made their presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
And, you know, I mean, I know how they function, all of them, because I deal with them, and I know how they go about it, but, you know, and they're all good organizations, don't get me wrong. They're very, very good organization, they do help the veterans, and they're good people. I won't take that away from them, never, never did that. The point I'm trying to say is that if you're gonna deal with them, they'll have their own ways of doing things.
Well, when we have it again, and depending on which way we go now, whoever we have that come in for services, it would be great if you could come
I'll be here.
and
I'll
have
be
some
here
questions
for
and
that.
stuff for them, because you would know more to ask than we would.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're gonna go the veterans direction, I'll be part of that, and because, you know, there's a lot of things that will go right over your head if you don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Agreed.
if we can, because I agree with you, let's try to, if we can do it multi-use, we might have a veterans portion and we might have another one, but I would just like your expertise, regardless of what it is, if we are looking at veterans housing.
But we need a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes, we do.
I know. And that's why I think if we do collaborate, we might be able to come up with something that's going to help a larger population than just one.
You know, I up at Outwood Acres, there's quite a few veterans widows up there, a lot of them, you know, and yeah, a lot of them up there. And unfortunately, those organizations, if they're into certain types of housing, will not bring widows in, and they don't do that. I mean, if they go into the other type
Yeah, we were told that.
facilities for rentals, then it's a little bit different, but they still don't they still don't bring females and males together. I don't
Right,
know why
and
they
he
don't.
did say that.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I just thought of what I was going to say, and Chaz, I can't remember if I asked you this question or not, but if you answered, I don't remember it. There's a 15-year, once you go into the affordable housing, maybe it's just accessory apartments, but, because when we set up Atwood Acres and Townsend Woods, those are affordable in perpetuity. But I've heard a rumor, and I hope this isn't true, that the Turnpike Village that we have, that was originally going to be condominiums, and the market went south, so the developer decided to just put in rental units, which are townhouse units, which obviously could be converted to condominiums at some point, and then sold off. That went in as a total 40B. So all, I think it's maybe 41 units, all of the units counted towards our affordable housing. And so we were thrilled, because that's our goal here, we were thrilled. My question on that one, and I'm hoping that it's not true, is that in 15 years that could be converted, that developer is only obligated to 15 years. If that is true, we are going to have a big problem come that 15 years, and I know we're past 5.
As far as I know, once you're affordable in that particular situation. Accessory apartments have a 15-year.
Okay.
I don't think a unit like that has
I'm
that
hoping
same,
not.
but what I can do, I will definitely
Yeah.
check on that.
That's
I'll
what we
have
really
to-
have to know, because then we got to plan. If that's the case, we have to plan a lot differently, because we're talking 41 units will all expire at the same time. That will be an issue. And to that, do you have to change date?
I just have to change the date.
Okay. Before Rosalie bought it, she had family in there because she was in the in-law part, and the kids were in the main part. And now that has changed. Everybody's gone. We've had the assessor in. The assessor's checking with building and Board of Health in reference to, can we get this now put into affordable housing? And Rosalie's willing to go the 15 years, whatever. And we're trying to put together a bullet process so that all of the ones that exist in town can become legal. The accessory part of it would be assessed at 80% versus up to 100%. And that's, at this point in time, to my knowledge, that's the only benefit that we can give to somebody who makes it an affordable unit. Having said that, when the individual, the homeowner, goes the affordable route, they have to do not exactly the same lottery kind of thing, but it has to be put out there, advertised as an affordable unit. It still has to meet marketing, and it still has to, the person renting it still has to meet the guidelines. The thing about Townsend is that we're in Middlesex South. So the income levels and the rental levels are like really different than Fitchburg and Leominster and all the other ones around, because we qualify for that income level. So in actuality, it can be a win-win if somebody would do this, because they're not going to lose the market rent. They're going to still get the market rent for that unit.
Do you have a list of what the rates are for affordable rentals? Is there a way you can get that?
In our district
I think
here?
everything we have that rents in Townsend now, which maybe starts at $825, goes up to $975 for a 2-bedroom that's an apartment. The housing goes up to $2,000. Maybe that's a little bit on the high side.
Right now, we're renting something at an affordable housing rate, and I know that we're not on any list.
What do you mean?
One of our rental properties is way below market.
Yeah.
I'm guessing in Townsend it would be
Oh, I
affordable.
see what
Is
you're
it attached to a building?
No, it's a house,
Yeah.
single family.
Okay, so I don't know how that
I
can
think it would be
happen.
good if we as a community, find that out, because I've talked to some other folks that are probably in that same scenario, that they're renting well under market because of people that have been there for a long time, and elderly and income and all these different things, but I know that they're not on your
It's
list.
different than-
Part of my conversations with the zoning is exactly this, because
Yeah.
you're not alone. There's a lot of other situations that are out there, and the more that we can incorporate in it, the better, the better.
But this is where the state comes in,
Yeah.
because affordable units are either apartment buildings, like Townsend Woods or Atwoods, or like Turnpike Village. They're not standalones. When they're standalone, and all those three projects were constructed as affordable. And that was our thing for years, and this is what I'm hoping we can get across with at the state level. And that is that if we're renting at an affordable rate, will they allow us to put a used property into affordable housing? I was told from the time that Kathy Rougeau was on as our land use coordinator, that it has to be from, and even the architect guy said that, Paul Textera said, it has to be new construction. It can't be like, we could do Country Estates, Pine Ridge. Those are all affordable rates, but they exist.
So maybe we need to change things legislatively. Maybe we're missing
Go for
our
it.
energy levels.
Yeah, because
Well,
that's what I've been asking.
So let me
The state has to get involved in that.
Yeah.
Yes, the state does, and the state actually is looking into that. This year is a focus on allowing communities like ours to be able to increase the affordability of their housing. It's part of the governor wants to do. To answer your question though, and a complex like Atwood Acres and Townsend Woods, they are affordable. They will always be affordable. If it ever comes to a point where they're not, then they can't operate. They are both.
Correct.
They're both there for that. The others, I don't think there's a time frame on it, but from the time that they're made affordable, they have to stay affordable.
And now, those were new construction.
Right. So once it's affordable, it has to stay affordable.
But our mantra, like for many years, was, look, we have a lot of affordable units in town. Why can't they count? Can't get the answer.
Yeah.
Well,
So part of the process
that could
is.
be
Go ahead.
something that we all talk about in our group meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
That, you might get some more support and understanding of that, because it's neither veterans housing or affordable housing are areas that I have expertise in, for sure. So this, conversation gave me new information. It might give others new information. It might make it so that we can give you, as our housing authority, more of a voice with our legislators of, really a deep analysis of what we are renting at and how many properties we do have. Because for a small town, we actually have a lot of apartments as opposed to some others in our range.
And I don't think it's been broached to them yet. We have 2 properties right now, because they had come before planning, that are existing homes and are having new accessory apartments put onto them. But they are not affordable. I think they could have gone through the affordable process if we had the bullet of what it meant to the homeowner. Like, even if, see, they're actually in-laws, okay? So they're putting in family, which is what happened, at Rosalie's. And why can't we somehow get that brand-new unit now? The only problem is they're not going through a lottery. And they're probably not paying market rent, but they're not paying more than market rent. So you're talking about seniors that moved into, a family residence, and we would like to see them counted, as affordable, but then they're not going to go by the whole guideline process.
Once you are affordable, you have to follow the lottery. You have to follow the availability of that.
Right, which means they
Tenants.
couldn't put their parents in there.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's a catch-22 thing.
Yeah, it is. And that's part of what zoning wants to do, but what time is the meeting tomorrow night?
Your meening, she has master plan.
7,
7 o'clock?
Master
And it's
plan.
here in Town Hall?
Selectmen.
Why can't they rent those out to the VASH program down in Bedford? Those apartments down on these where these houses are. The veterans are affordable, subsidized housing.
Well, what I just brought to your attention were 2 existing properties that we're adding like in-laws on. And
in-laws.
although they were new and they could have been used for affordable, these people are putting their family in there. So it's not going to go through the lottery process or the income or the, marketing process and all that.
Well, excuse me, you know how the VASH program works, right?
I don't.
You don't? You know how the VASH program works? Veterans Affordable Subsidized Housing. is,
Okay.
They have so many vouchers that are issued throughout the state, through the government, the federal government. And these vouchers guarantee a landlord 1-year guarantee of 70% of their rent. And the federal government pays that 70%.
Okay,
The
yeah.
applicant only pays 30%.
Yeah.
And it has to be an agreement between the veteran and the landlord. And they can rent those apartments out, and the only thing they have to do is notify the Bedford VA, say, we got some housing over here that these landlords would like to rent out to veterans under the VASH program.
So if people did that, would they, say an owner did that, because over at...
He has to agree with the VA. They have a checklist that when they go down to rent it out, a veterans officer from Bedford would go down, check the apartment out, make sure it meets all the
It's like
standards.
Section 8.
It is, exactly.
Yeah, Section-
It's the same
Same.
process, yeah.
But they guarantee their money up front
Yeah.
from the federal government, and the applicant only has to pay 30%. Now, if his income goes up, then the applicant, the veteran's rental will go up according to his income. So it has to meet the standard of his income, okay? So, which is a good program, it's a good program. I just want to put that out, because you're a realtor, so you know.
Yeah. And I do have investors that some will do Section 8, and
So, I mean, if we do get calls for veterans coming into the town, a veteran will call me up and say, I got a VASH voucher, do you have any properties that might want to rent to us? And I find out to a realtor.
Yeah,
If
right.
any properties and that, and we'll send them on down, and they'll
Right.
take them over there.
Well, Joe, if we had, let's say, accessory apartments that have been special permitted to be able for low to moderate, and, you would be interested in it, would they be eligible for those? If we had an accessory apartment that has been deemed low to moderate housing, we have it on our inventory.
Yeah, I mean, we can notify down at Bedford, the people that have VASH vouchers and say, yeah, we got something here.
Okay.
You want to come into Townsend and take a look at the place and talk to the landlord? And see- Then if the landlord and him make an agreement, then they'll send a rep out from the VA to check the place out, make sure it's all squared away, and then they can sign off, because they have a form the landlord has to fill out and all that stuff.
But it has to be something that's on our subsidized
Right.
housing list. That's interesting, too.
yeah, but it's really hard too, because the rental market is really tight.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
Sure.
No, but it's good to know.
I had a couple of VASH people come in, and they did find places here. And it worked out well for them, because...
Was it at Pine Ridge?
Yeah, one was at Pine Ridge, right, and there was one was a regular landlord down the road over here, down by the settle shop or something down there or somewhere.
Oh,
That area
yeah, I
down
know
there.
what you mean.
Yeah,
Was it a 3-family or the,
I think it was a 3-family.
yeah, I know what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it works, it works. It's a good program. That's one of our, people who go through the drug rehabilitation or alcohol rehabilitation, they go in there for 18 months, whatever it is, 12 months or 2 years. And then they have to find a place to live, so they give them a VASH voucher, and they say, okay, we're gonna give you a month to 2 months to go out and
Do
work
you
for a
have
place.
any now, by the way?
Do I have any now?
Yeah.
No.
VASH vouchers? Because I just noticed that Barbara Lampkin's house, the son must have put out a for
Yeah,
rent.
they're giving out, the VASH vouchers are giving out in at the Bedford VA to the veterans there, and they tell them where to go and look for, if there's anything available in the areas. The only thing I could do is if I get a list of places, you gave them to me, I can send it down there and they can give them out to the veterans, you know. It brings veterans in, you know, so I mean, it brings people into the community too. I mean, if they're employed, it's great, because a lot of them have jobs already.
Well, I had no idea that you were also doing the voucher program. I had absolutely no idea about
Yeah,
that.
well, if they come to me, and
Yeah.
they call me up, say, I got a voucher, are there any place, they say, yeah, there's a place over here, you can go there, right? And you can go to, or Pepper, or Ashley's, a place up there for rental or something.
Okay.
And they'll go in there and see the landlord, and see if the landlord would agree to rent out to them. You know?
That's good to know.
It is, because if we had people that were interested in doing accessory apartment, and we could also make sure that they were, I mean, it would be in our inventory, we give you a list of what we have in our inventory that's available, and
Yeah, I can either send it to either Bedford or go through Boston and send it down to the Veterans Office down in Boston.
Okay.
We'll handle that down in Boston, the homeless vet thing and all that stuff.
okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know, actually.
Because, you know, there are people that come in and say, I'm looking for a place to live, I got a voucher.
Mhm.
You have anything here? And I, wait a minute, you know, if I know, I'll tell them. If I don't know, how
Yeah.
can I tell them where to go?
Right.
But I'm looking at it as for us, if we know that people are looking to put something on the housing inventory, that would be knowing that they would be able to get their money up front.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, they
So
guarantee
it may want
70%,
them- Yeah,
and the
it may
tenant
want
has
them
to
to
pay.
be able to go the affordable housing route so that they could be available for the voucher program, so,
Something to look at.
yep, that is, well, good. That would be another perk.
Okay, we've kind of touched on that, and Rosalie's willing to do it, and with meeting with the zoning board, we're looking at next steps. So we're waiting to hear back from the people
Okay.
right now to see what exactly we could do between the Board of Health and the building inspector.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to put it out there because we must have other residents in town that might see this meeting taped, and they might come forward and get their apartment or whatever legal, because there are some that aren't.
So are we looking for, we're given a price or fair market value for the apartment? Is that what they're gonna be asking us, going under the bylaws that we have right now?
I'd have to look at the sheet that gives the income and what they can rent it out, but I would be pretty confident in saying that everything that's market rate in Townsend would be market rate allowed by the affordable housing.
Okay.
Only because we're Middlesex South.
Yeah, and we need to really look at that. We've had conversations with the representative in regards to how out of line it is with our community and where we're at. It's kind of crazy in some respects.
But in this respect, you know, anybody who does make their accessory, you know, affordable will not be losing income.
Right.
And they'll be gaining like a little less to pay on their taxes for the property that they already have.
Mhm.
So we're hoping to make that, that's a goal, kind of, to get a bullet out there, to let people know, and then go through the process. Because going through the process of like the marketing and getting it rented, especially when it's a tight market, is not hard. It really isn't. What was really hard this last year or two was when Coppersmith Way was trying to resell to affordable units. And it didn't go affordable.
Yeah, we lost it. We lost those
Both of
two
them.
because of the...
And they market it, if you market it for so long, and then if doesn't, you either drop the price, or you have to, after 1 year, it can go to market.
Yeah.
To market price. And then at market price, it can be anybody that buys it, okay? It's when it stays within that time period that you have to fit the affordable guidelines. So,
Any more discussion?
anything else to come before us, or any questions? Really glad you were here and we were not alone this evening. Okay, motion to adjourn at 8:20 PM. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hartley.
Thank you, Hartley.